I want to take a look at Darius Garland's development over the past couple of seasons. He got an all-star selection in 2021, but I'm still not sure people realize just how powerful of an offensive player he is. The stuff that he's shown that he's capable of are a lot less on par with what you'd expect from an all-star caliber player, and more on par with what you'd expect from an all-NBA caliber player. His improvement year to year has been really impressive, going from a 12.3 point per game scorer to 17.4 points per game, now all the way to 21.7 points per game during his age 22 season. As that scoring has increased, so has his efficiency, which was one of the biggest concerns with Darius Garland during his rookie season. One of the big questions that I've been asking myself with Garland is how is his efficiency going to scale with 20 or more field goal attempts per game? He took 17.3 shots per game during this past season, and he shot right around league average in terms of true shooting. So the question worth asking is, at what point does the efficiency stop scaling with the volume? Right now, the primary areas of strength for Darius Garland when it comes to scoring is his shooting beyond the arc and in the mid-range. He shot a fantastic 38.3% from 3 on 6.7 attempts per game, making him one of the premier three-point shooters on that level of volume during the 2021-22 season. 3.7 of those 6.7 attempts were pull-up three-pointers, which are significantly more difficult than just your spot-up threes or catch-and-shoot threes or corner threes. His efficiency on pull-up threes is ridiculous. He's shooting 40.5%. That makes him the third best pull-up three-point shooter of all players in the NBA, attempting 3 or more pull-up threes per game. His ability to utilize screens to get into space off the dribble for an open shot is really special. When you pair this with his constantly developing handle, you get a pretty lethal perimeter pull-up threat. He makes it look so simple too, just barely dribbling to the right as Mobley comes up to offer the screen, forcing his defender under it, allowing him to use the space to let the shot fly off of the dribble. Again here, the screen is going to come, and he fakes the right side drive off of the screen, stepping behind it to keep the defense at bay to give him plenty of time to pull the shot. And then here he recognizes that Powell is in drop coverage on the screen, and he gets his defender under Mobley's screen so that Brunson starts going downhill to guard the drive, and it leaves Garland with all the space in the world for the bucket. This shooting ability doesn't just apply to the perimeter either. As a matter of fact, Darius Garland's mid-range shooting prowess rivals some of the best mid-range shooters in the entire league. He's a 46.8% mid-range shooter, making him 4.8% better than league average from mid-range, and this was on 3.2 attempts per game. And although that's a fairly limited volume relative to the best mid-range shooters in the league, it's still very impressive. And it's going to be an area to watch with Garland going forward, because if he gets to the point where he's leveraging it on a consistent basis, his scoring output is going to skyrocket. Having an in-between game, as I've covered in previous videos, is incredibly valuable in the modern NBA. Guys that can knock down mid-range jumpers are at an inherent advantage due to how NBA teams defend the pick and roll these days. You see, when he's operating as the ball handler, defenses tend to drop back when covering, leaving space in the mid-range. They usually want to defend the drive or prevent any pass to the roller. In Garland's case, he's running the pick and roll with Jarrett Allen, who is one of the best roll men in the NBA right now. So defenses are forced to be extra cautious at all times to prevent the pass to the roller. This allows Darius Garland to utilize the space that's left behind from teams playing in drop coverage. While this advantage in scheme definitely helps him get a lot of open shots in the mid-range, he's also genuinely just great at creating his own shot. He's got the ability to knock down movement shots off of screens. He can manipulate his defenders into his teammates' screens, opening up space for him to get a shot off. And when you add his floater ability into the equation, the amount of damage that he can do inside the arc starts to look really, really fun. He shot 51% on 210 floaters this season, and while I don't have the numbers on how above or below league average that is, my initial inclination is that that's pretty dang good, especially on that level of volume. The floater is one of those shots that's just nearly impossible to defend. It has a certain level of unpredictability to it, and it's usually just such a high arcing shot that being able to get any sort of contest on it is really, really difficult if you're the defense. Garland does a great job of leveraging it, using it to get easy points when he's in that gray area between the mid-range and the restricted area. It negates a lot of the problems that might arise from him having a pretty significant size disadvantage at 6'2". Now, a lot of Garland's playmaking ability, which we're going to dive into in just a second, is predicated on applying pressure at the rim. Now, for as good as he is at utilizing this rim pressure, he does still have some room to grow as a finisher. He only shot 57% at the rim during the 2021-22 season, which is a little bit below the 61% league average. He doesn't have the athleticism to be an above the rim finisher, so a lot of what he does at the rim is predicated on his craftiness and his shiftiness. It's a lot more of a finesse game, using his herky-jerky movement and soft touch to get the ball out of reach of the taller defenders. He's got a beautiful hesitation that allows him to get his defenders off balance, which allows him to blow by them to finish at the basket. He also has no problem switching hands midair, and honestly, his entire layup package is just fun to watch. But now we can get into the really fun part, and that's his playmaking ability. Throughout the course of my research for this video, I realized that it's really difficult for me to name more than 4 or 5 guys that I'd say are better playmakers than Darius Garland right now. He's one of the most gifted passers in the NBA. And one of the things that he does so well that allows him to create so many opportunities for his teammates is the way that he's able to manipulate defenses with his ball handling and driving ability. And like I said earlier, while he's not an elite finisher yet, he does a really good job of leveraging the threat of his drives to force defenses into difficult rotations, capitalizing on mismatches, and forcing help to open up perimeter shooters. Here, the Cavs are in a transition opportunity, and Garland is pushing the pace despite the fact that the Cavs are in more of a 3-on-4 situation. He's going to beat Clarkson, and that forces Rudy Gay to step up on his drive, which opens up an easy pass to Evan Mobley in the dunker spot, leading to an easy 2 points. Here, he drives baseline, and he's going to bail out midair to 𝙖𝙗𝙤𝙪 on the perimeter, but he's not going to stop after the pass. He relocates to the corner, pulling a defender with him, opening up even more space for 𝙖𝙗𝙤𝙪 to put up the runner without any defense nearby. And on this one, we can see the mid-range threat of Garland on this play, creating an opportunity for his teammate. The defense is going to leave Kevin Love off of the pass out of the post-up, and Garland pump faking the mid-range pull-up with 3 defenders on him opens up a pass to Kevin Love for a catch-and-shoot 3. This play is really cool, but it happens so quickly, so I'm going to slow it down a lot so you can see. He's going to fake the pass to Okoro in the corner, and it's going to shift the entire defense to the left side. Garland is going to use this momentary adjustment by the defense to find Markkanen on the weak side for an easy catch-and-shoot 3. The ability to control the defense like this while also being keenly aware of the simple passes that result in high percentage looks isn't something that's easy to come by in young point guards. He keeps defenses on a string, keeping them focused on what he's capable of doing, which allows his teammates to work in the background to get open, knowing that once they get into space, Garland is almost certainly going to find them. He combines flashy passing with sound decision making, which is a really tough balance to strike. Some guys are really crafty passers, but they sacrifice ball security for the sake of making insanely difficult reads. Some guys, on the other hand, play it too safe and would rather avoid any risk at the cost of missing out on unique passing lanes and unorthodox opportunities. What I love about Garland is that he's able to make these unorthodox reads while also maintaining ball security, something that's indicative of elite playmaking talent. Right now, his defense is nothing to write home about, and there's undoubtedly some work to be done in that department. He's always going to be capped to a certain extent simply due to his size limitations, but he's not bad enough of a defender that it's completely detrimental to his game. And given the defensive lineup that Cleveland is currently building, he's at the very least able to be hidden on the defensive end. This 2 big men experiment that Cleveland is running with Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen wouldn't work without Darius Garland. With Darius Garland on the floor with the 2 of them, they have an offensive rating of 113.5. Without Darius Garland, this 2-man lineup of Mobley and Allen combined for an offensive rating of only 88.5. He unlocks the offensive potential between the 2 of them, and that just doesn't happen without Garland on the floor. All of Darius Garland's tools are exactly what you want from a modern point guard. He can create for himself at a nearly elite level, he's extremely efficient. He not only doesn't disrupt your offense, but he's the wheel that keeps the offense moving. Garland isn't just an all-star level point guard. He's on the path to becoming an all-NBA level point guard, something that I could see him being in the running for as early as next season. There's not a whole lot that he can't do on the offensive end, and given where the Cavs were prior to all of the injuries this past season, he could easily lead them to a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. If you guys enjoyed this video and you love the NBA, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. That's the #1 way to support me and help me continue making content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.